Alderman Daphne Sim, lead us in prayer.
May we bow our head. Dear Lord, we give thanks today for bringing you together. We're here as a city. We're here to handle the business of the city. We ask while we're here that you keep us safe from our hurt, harm, and danger. We ask that you keep us honest, keep us fair. We keep in our mind that you know all, you see all, and you see us as children of yours.
Yeah.
Please keep everyone here as we leave. Help us to have traveling grace. These and many blessings I do pray. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Rodriguez Brown, present. Alderman Fred Esco. Alderman Eric Gilkey. Alderman Les Penn. Alderwoman Daphne Sim. Alderman Tim Taylor. Alderman Lafayette Wales.
Present.
We've done the invitation. We hereby call for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Man, before we adopt the agenda, I'd like to add a couple of items.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to add one in the Public Works Department and one for the executive session.
Sir.
One in the executive session, that's in the Public Works Department. And I would like to add a concerning citizen. Ms. Peter Green would like to speak to the council. So she was here on yesterday, and we didn't give her an opportunity to speak, so I'd like to add her to the agenda for public.
Ms. Vita Green?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Before we adopt the agenda, we need to, did he add that, Deborah?
I did.
We can just add it with consent, if that's okay.
It's a executive session.
Well, the mayor will entertain a motion to add the item recommended by Alderman Gilkey to executive session in public work
No.
And one in presentation.
and one in presentation.
Okay.
Sir,
I said, what did you say? I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
the
motion?
mayor will entertain the motion presented by Alderman Eric Gilkey to place an item, public works, in executive session, and as well as to place Ms. Vita Green as a presenter today. There's a move, a motion, all in favor?
I'll say.
Okay, second. Who second?
And what is the vote count? Motion carried. The mayor will not entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor? Motion carried. The mayor will now call for a motion to approve the claims docket.
So moved.
Okay.
I'm ready.
There's a motion by, who's the motion by, Deborah?
Alderman Sam,
Alderwoman Sims, and a second by
guilty.
Alderman Gilkey, and then readiness by Alderman Lafayette Wells.
Just a
Please
real.
proceed, Alderman Wells.
Okay, Mayor, on the claims docket, we have, the election commissioner, Alicia Horton, for 1,800, and we still have not had the verification from the clerk's office on this particular claim.
Well, if that is the case, then what do you recommend? I suggest.
Well, we move until we get clarification. I see the invoice that was placed there, but, Clerk Brown, any changes? I mean, you can't verify any of it.
I can only verify that she was here on those Saturdays that I work, and she works some through the week. I don't, most of that time that she worked, she wasn't with me. So I can't say she did it, she did. I know that a lot of calls were made, and I think that she did do that.
Is it the understanding that these are self-documented, self-reported hours?
The clerk does have to verify, the clerk's got to verify that's all
There's a recognition of Alderman Eric guilty.
Also, Mayor, it appears that there's no other source to go to validate other than what Ms. Brown has said that she's a witness to. And there's no additional, I guess, cooperation in terms of whether or not she worked with them for the most part. So what I'm saying is, there's nothing that we have in place that, other than what Deborah has said, that we can validate these hours that were actually worked by Ms. Porter. So either we're gonna pay based on what she submitted, or I don't know any other way to determine whether or not she did or didn't. She can validate the fact that she actually worked. So again, it was I guess incumbent upon our city clerk, for whatever reason, if I'm not mistaken, to actually track those things. And for whatever reason, she didn't track them like she probably should have. So why are we trying to punish Ms. Horton for work that she's done and says she's done? And there's no other way to corroborate what to validate those hours other than what Ms. Brown said. So there's no other outside resources that we can, that I know of, that we can actually show that she did work these hours.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Brown. Is there any other way that these hours of time of action of the work can be validated?
No, I didn't, as Alderman Bishop said, I did not keep a record of their hours. I wasn't aware that I was supposed to. I did find out after it was done that I was supposed to have, but, you know. Like I say, I do know they did work. But I can't tell you how much they worked.
So you,
And eventually just took 4 hours per day. I think that's what was actually.
so I understand what you're saying. So I think that what you're saying is that in some of the hours claimed, there were like 4 hours of telephone calls. And I think what Alderman Gilkey is saying, if it was 4 hours of telephone calls, then
Well, not exactly, but what I'm saying is, I think, if I read the other day, I think she included phone calls among some other things. But I'm not gonna, I guess, try to determine whether or not she's on the phone for 4 hours, whatever the fact. I think she actually included that along with other things for that particular 4 hours. Now, if there's nothing to show, okay, again, phone bill or anything like that, but I'm trying to see whether or not that is how we normally, I guess, track everybody who has done the same duties in the manner in which we're trying to scrutinize, these folks here. So again, I want to be fair to her. So if in fact she said that she worked these hours and she can validate the fact that she was here on those particular days, I think it's important that we go ahead and approve it. And then as we go forward, if she happens to do, or anyone else happens to do any type of work such as this, should be, I guess, check in with the city clerk so she can kind of verify that those were hours that were actually worked. So again, we held this invoice or this payment out for quite a while now, and the work has been done. And again, there's no other way of corroborating other than the fact that she submitted her timesheet, and Ms. Brown indicated that she actually worked. Now, what she did with that time, I mean, I can't account for it.
okay.
Can I ask you one question? When did they actually get reappointed every election?
Reappointed.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a real appointment. This is for the general.
Yeah, they were appointed for the general election.
But I see some stuff in July.
July, yeah.
July 1st.
Yeah, she's.
That should have been general, shouldn't it?
No, general was done then.
The general was done in June 8th.
Yeah, yeah, she's got several days after June 8th.
Okay, if that,
Yeah, they were. Keep in mind, she still was working.
The only reason I say that is because the law says that there be backfill officers and they can't be paid until they're reappointed. So that's why I was asking about July 1st stuff.
but were these July bills in reference to the general election? Because again, those things have yet to be, I guess, certified for the most part, so there was actually work that was actually being performed as relates to the general election, is that correct?
That is,
Right, so that's probably why you will probably see time after the general election, up until that point, so again, they're still dealing with issues that's related to, the general election.
Well, that's the case, you know, they still gonna have some, because, you know, proceedings and stuff are still going on, so.
Right, so but we haven't done anything to, I guess, to prevent them from actually working. And I think now we're going to the special election phase of it. So, I don't know, where do we stop and where do we begin?
You know, the other two commissioners haven't filed anything yet. One of them did last docket, but they didn't file anything this time. But like I said,
So is this
They have, well,
they're not on yet.
but they just didn't add, they didn't detail theirs like we asked, so we didn't do so, we just waiting on them to bring the detail list back.
Well, let me ask this question, if it's okay with the board. Can we go ahead and adopt the, claims docket with the intent to pay Ms. Clark, dedicated on whatever review anyone might want to do?
how are we proposing to, what are you saying, pull that off?
Well, I'm thinking that Alderman Wells has a satisfaction that he's looking for.
Well, I'm satisfied as long as the clerk can, moving forward, the clerk needs to be able to verify, what's being done, in order for us to, pay it with ease in our individual mind.
And she is saying she can't verify one, and she is saying she didn't know that she was supposed to verify two, so this is where we are.
Right, because again, the clerk says, okay, I can verify she can't.
Hold on, let me get it.
Okay.
Alderman Wells.
Yeah, I would say, the clerk needs to have a conversation with, the commissioners and explain to them, working hours or, what are your working times, and you be able to prove that I said somewhere on, May 12th and made 4 hours worth of calls. Now, if you work 1 hour, you get paid for 4, you know, because we're talking about taxpayers' money here. So, I don't have a problem with paying them, but, you know, everything we do has to be documented.
That's what I'm saying. So again, the city clerk now should say to these workers that we need more detail in terms of, we need support documents to go along with the work that you're actually doing. Now again, you can probably track the calls for the most part, but again, if Deborah says, okay, Deborah can't sit here and watch 3 people do multiple things. So again, she said, they came in at 4, at 12, whatever, left at 4. So, again, you gonna itemize phone calls and phone records, indicate that to them, you can track that, but for her to sit here and watch 3 different people, whomever, do what she can, especially if they're in multiple places, where they're just not her job.
Right. One final comment there, and as we approach special elections and stuff, we talked about the duties and activities that they've previously done. So going forward, you shouldn't see this type of hours if you've already done this. You need to make that perfectly clear to them. If you've been down this road before, you don't need to tell me, I'm gonna use 140 hours again to do the same thing that I've already, done previously. So sometimes, you just have to be firm. I don't have a problem with that, but, you need to document that's, so we can move forward with this one, man.
I need to pause and read the question.
Can you repeat the motion, Mayor?
The motion basically was to pay Mr.
And that's
I mean, Ms. Lisa.
It's ready to vote.
And that's including Lisa Horton. Correct.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's been second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Opposed?
What's the count, Deborah? I'm sorry, Mr. Brown.
5-1.
Motion carried.
4-2.
Is it 5-1 or 4-2?
Wells and Brown both are yes.
That's 4-2.
Okay.
I guess we'll have the same
Now,
vote.
going forward, is there anything that we need to transition to these members to state that as we
Yes,
go
if
forward?
Attorney Banks, if you would, can you, Attorney Banks still there, so we can let them know exactly how this needs to work, if they need to report
Yeah.
here, to actually do the work, can we just get something in writing?
Yeah,
I get
they need to know what the duties are. Yeah.
Yes.
Duties and hours, yeah.
Okay. The mayor calls for a motion to approve the payroll docket.
So moved.
Oh, I can't do that. Oh, you?
No,
Oh, yeah, I need.
Yeah, I did. I make a motion. I make a motion, Mayor. Payroll docket. You trying to make a motion, man?
All in favor?
No, it had a second.
Now, who did the second?
No,
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Alright.
I know that's unanimous.
Make sure you get paid.
Item 5.
Man, before we get to
Sir.
item 5, I'm not sure that.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Green.
Mr. Billy Green.
big thing.
Thanks.
Good afternoon
Good
Get up and
to the mayor and city officials, public council. I'm here, and I was here on yesterday. I didn't quite know the protocol as to how to, come before you all, so thanks to, Alderman Gilby, who helped me to be here today. But I will not delay, why I'm here. Number one, and this probably may be an issue that you all have heard before, but I'm here to speak on my displeasure with waste management. I recently lost my mom, and, ordinarily, the one waste can has been sufficient, but you all know how we do, especially, and, and so we get extra garbage, leading up to funeral and after the funeral. I had a waste waste can that I thought I could put out just that one time. I did read your brochure, and I did understand that if you needed an additional waste can, that you could contact Waste Management and pay $75. However, like I said, ordinarily, one waste can is sufficient, but due to these extenuating circumstances, I needed an additional waste can. I had waste can, so I thought I could use it. I put it out the first week, and it didn't get picked up. I put it out the second week, it didn't get picked up. And I was standing there, and they emptied the waste management, the waste pro. By now, the contents putrefied and it's smelly or whatever. And so just last week, I got the last of all of that waste, and was able to gradually put it in the waste can each week until they got everything. Now, I don't know just how long the contract you all have with them, but I would say it is not working. And my displeasure is because they can't say that they don't pick up anyone else's waste can, because I have been behind the truck and I have seen them pick up other waste cans. So you can't tell me that, you only pick up waste management, because that's not true. And my thing is, if we're here to make sure that our city is clean, that's just sanitation, I don't see where it makes a difference whose name is on the waste can. It's trash, it's garbage, and it belongs where trash and garbage goes. So that's my displeasure with waste management. The other thing I would like to say is that I'm glad to see that Amazon is here or will be opening real soon. But I'm concerned about the aesthetic of the city. And I think I shared that with Alderman Esco very recently. I made mention of to Alderman Wales, but I didn't get a chance. But that was what I wanted to speak to him about as well. I'm just concerned about the aesthetic of the city. I was here on yesterday and I heard one of the physicians talking about making things easy for people when they're coming into our city to do business. And I'm just concerned with the way that our city is. We have overgrown lots, ditches that need to be cut. And I just feel like we need to make Canton as appealing as we can. If we want businesses like Amazon and other businesses to come here, let's make it more appealing here. I know we've had the slogan, Canton, City of Light. And as I was riding out 22 the other evening, I just noticed we had quite a few lights that were not there. The trees are overpowering the effects of the lights, and so I just feel like these are things that we can improve. I don't know how the city of Canton stands fiscally, but I say spend a little money up front to make money on the back end. Okay. And then thirdly, let me just ask this question. Does the city still offer acknowledgements to the families of the citizens here in Canton? And some of you all probably know where I'm going with this. Do you all still do that?
Normally the mayor usually issue an acknowledgement, and it usually is given to the criminal director at the time of bereavement. So I don't know whether that occurred in this particular case or not, and it may have been an oversight, but I just don't know what has transpired between the mayor's office and the criminal directors.
Permit me to say this. As I said, I did lose my mom recently, and I was a little heartbroken because of the fact that I have gone to funerals and I have heard acknowledgments. And I just think my mom was a city servant. And let me also say this: if she were here, she would not probably want me to say this, because if you knew her, she was the kind of person who didn't care about a lot of fame, fortune, and accolades. Whatever she did it from her heart. But I was just a little disheartened because as a city servant, and by that I mean she was an educator here for 43 years. She taught for 46 years, but only 43 here in Canton. I was just a little disheartened because I didn't hear anything. And no, there's nothing that we can say or do that will help her, but I just wanted to call it to your attention because there are other educators of my mom's era that are still living. And when their time comes, I just feel like we should extend a courtesy to their family, by just at least letting them know that we're sorry for your loss, we thank them for their time of service, and we do pray for your family.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot or anything, but, you know, that's just, and it took me a week or two before I could actually just sit down and go through the sympathy cards, and then, and it just hit me, I said, oh, I didn't see anything from the city of Canton. So, like I said, I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot, but this is just something I thought to bring to you all, so that you all can correct it going forward. Thank you for the allotment of time, and thank you for listening.
Let me mention this, Ms. Green, because, the city, specifically the mayor's office, every, death here in the city of Canton that is brought to my attention, we acknowledge it, and it is read. I have no idea as to what happened in the communication process, but if it gets to me, then we send out acknowledgements. I don't know what happened in this case, or whatever happened, I apologize, but it just didn't get to me. You know, of the news of it, so, we just have to work better, do better. And, thank you. Mr. Jimmy Smith, Attorney Wesley Evans, Ms. Sarah Steele, public hearing from the city of the zoning commission to deny a request on Monday, April 12th, 2021 for a special exception for a cemetery on Covington Drive. The property is zone 1, 2 heavy industrial and is located on the north side of Covington Drive and Sisney Avenue. On Tuesday, June 1st, 2021, the Mayor Board of Alabama public hearing regarding Ms. Steele's appeal, however, no decision was reached then.
So we're doing another public hearing?
Yes, sir.
This is a public hearing, it should be open up for public hearing. Mr. Jimmy? Are you about to open it up for public hearing?
I believe that the board has to open up the public hearing and, hear from Ms. Steele first, I believe.
Yeah, because we usually accept the request from you, but.
Well, in that case, just a minute. In this case, do we have something else?
Are we trying to check? No, but go ahead, we can proceed.
The mayor was historically invested in him, and this board was historically invested in it, hereby calls at this time a public hearing regarding the matter that's relevant to Ms. Sarah Steele and the decision of the zoning commission to deny her request on Monday, April 12, 2021. Ms. Steele, Mr. Smith, Attorney Evans.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As you know, I was here before, asking permission to open a private cemetery, public cemetery. And the question was, for me to hold off until you all could send someone out to see what's the property flood zone. I did that. So we're back today to determine if my property is in a flood zone. So, Mr. Smith.
Yes, ma'am. Based on the floodplain maps, the edge of the ridge at the top of the property is probably in the flood hazard area. The rest of the property is not in the flood hazard area. That being said, I'm not an engineer. I
can't say whether there's any issue with flooding for the rest of the property, I don't know.
So you're saying as coming into it on that street, is what you're saying?
For that property, it's, I think the edge, the ridge is probably in the flood hazard area.
At that ditch?
I believe so, yes.
Mhm.
The rest of it
Property
is not.
itself is not
Not.
part of flood zone. Okay? So that was the question that you were saying, that they were saying that it was a flood zone, which the property is not flood zone, is not listed as in a flood zone. Okay? So,
Now, on that also, Mayor, where he's talking about the red of the property, that is a ditch to where the water have access to the creek. Now, on the, north side of the land, it's the lowest part of the land, not property we own, but the property next to it is a low area, holds water. But the water drains around the entire back of the property and drains into the creek. Now, the elevation of our property is way 4 feet above what he's talking about. Now, on the work that we was doing when they said we were digging, we was not digging. The city had been dumping dirt there for years before the owners before us blocked it off. And all we did was took the dirt and pushed it to the lower part of our property to build it up. So we was not digging, we was leveling the land off. So where he's talking about at the tip of the land is low, that's where we was putting the dirt down at the tip of the land in case it did do significant amount of rain and it may cause flood. If the creek flood, then everything gonna flood. It's just a matter of how much rain we talking about to flood.
it had never flooded on Covington Drive, to my knowledge, and I've been here 58 years. And Ms. Sims, you was asking about the privacy of that property, which my husband has some as well. But these are the private trees that I have already started planting around that perimeter of that property. And this is actually how the cemetery would look, because it's gonna be flat. He gonna give you a copy of this, so you can see that it would be nice and neat. And this is part of the family, the plots where my family would be. Actually, this is how it's gonna actually look. And it will have a gate to enter in and out of the property. Those trees will grow as high as you want them to grow, and you keep those trimmed and shaped and neat. And like I say, the bottom half of that, it will actually, that's how it would look, where the cemetery would be nice and neat and clean. And like I say, I came to present a needed service here, because I know Burke Cemetery is getting older, crowded, and then there is the poly field, which you can't bury anybody there anymore because you're gonna be buried on top of each other. So I was just, trying to offer a good service that is needed here. Because you got the,
Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Steele, what plans do you have, for continued maintenance and upkeep of the property once it comes to the cemetery?
but, okay, there is, I have my brother which will be upkeeping of the property, keeping it mowed, which he's doing that now. He's keeping it mowed around the perimeter of the property now. He will actually be doing that, keeping it mowed, looking nice and clean, keeping litter, paper, and everything out of it.
Mr. Esco, that is why we have a certain way the cemetery is gonna look to keep flat headstone. You know, if you wanna be buried there, you have to go on our route, flat headstone. That way we're able to keep the place mowed and keep the stones, where you could run across those stones and cut grass instead of a stone, headstone hook where you have to trim around it. So that's one way of keeping it more nicer looking than having all the stone headstones.
Standing up.
Now, this is something, we not just looking to make money, but we wanna beautify it. We want this, where people can bury their people there and come and look nice. You know, we don't have any intention of letting it get out of hand or looking all junky, you know, grass not cut, bushes growing all up around it. The way you see it on this paper, this is the way we wanna keep it looking.
What's the name of this?
Duke Memorial. Duke
Memorial.
Duke Memorial. I just gave you some highlights of how my envision of it is going to look.
Alderman Wells.
Could you ask, Attorney Evans to come up since they were,
Attorney Evans?
yeah. And give us, just that. Good evening. Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening. I guess the question, Attorney Evans, is that there was a unanimous vote on behalf of the zoning commission to deny this area as a cemetery. There on Republican Drive. What was that?
Oh, well, Mayor, what I can tell you, of course, I don't take a position either for or against the project. Only thing I can talk about the legal issues that came up that are involved with this particular project. I think the first major issue, as the proposal was initially presented to the commission, it was going to start out as what's called a private cemetery. And the problem is, a private cemetery, we don't have any regulations within our code or ordinance that would govern such a project. We didn't account for that. However, at some determined point, it was going to convert to a public cemetery. Now, we have a bunch of regulations concerning public cemeteries, and I think the major issue that still may have run into, our ordinance requires that all public cemeteries have to have at least 5 acres of land. And I believe the understanding is that we still only have 4.5 acres, so she wouldn't meet our requirements. And based upon that, public comments and looking at the issues as far as potential flooding, the commission decided to vote against the project.
Okay. Any other questions of Attorney Evans for the return to the city?
Did any constituents, neighbors come to your hearing?
Yes, I believe it was 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, and whenever, I was gonna say that there are some here, I believe, today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next constituents here. Could you step forward, please?
I just say that, Attorney Evans said that they have a criteria of 5 acres. There are cemeteries here that are less than 5 acres. There's Brown Family Cemetery. They have less than 2 acres of land. There's Gray Center Cemetery. They have 3 acres. Sneed Cemetery. They have 1.5 acre of land. So there are cemeteries that are less than 5 acres.
Are those all in the city?
Yes.
Those would be considered non-conforming businesses or operations. And of course, the intent is to get away from that if possible.
Okay. Who's this gentleman behind you?
It looks like a Donald Warren.
Oh, the Donald. Dr. Lawrence?
Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening, Mayor Board, all of you. I'm here to represent some the citizens that live on around the surrounding area. And they got a few of them here. And I'd like to also finish the record to the mayor board, I guess that one of the last meetings, they filed a petition to the board with about 40 names. We'd like to enter that into record into this meeting as well. Just to start off, let the board know.
No, we don't have that, they brought it, but
They sure bought it, but where is it?
Where is it? It needs to be entered into the record.
Right.
Now.
Okay, we left that the last time we were here.
Do you have it? We have several copies.
So Ms. Brown, you have it?
Put your hand
Okay. So,
Okay.
But Skip, can I say one thing? Now, these citizens he's talking about, we don't need names all over town. Are these the citizens that live in that area?
Right, these
Because
are the ones.
we need to make sure that we're not getting names from across
My
town.
property is within 160 feet of y'all's property, so.
Let me tell you how this is gonna work. We're gonna have one family to present their side, which is in Ms. Steele. So we have the other family to present their side. And then if Ms. Steele has something to add after the presentation, that'll be fine. That'll keep everybody correct. Argument. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, here to represent the people around the surrounding neighborhood, which some of those are within 160 feet of the property. Ms. Tammy Owens, and Ms. Brittany Owens, she's around in that surrounding area as well. But anyway, I'm here to represent them. Anyway, they called me and said they have a problem, they look in the community, and that's what I come and represent them. And I just wanted to bring to the board that there are some concerns about, I guess, putting cemetery within that area. The first thing is I noticed that the petitioner said they did some earth moving. And Jimmy also mentioned that was a part of the property was in the flood hazard area. Now, changing changing that flood hazard area could cause major problems. Not only for the petitioner, not even for, and even for the surrounding property owners as well. Because the city do have a law which is called no adverse impact. That means you can't run your water on somebody else's water. If you do that, you just you might have to look out, you might be sued for doing that. So therefore, that's why you need engineers to be able to go out there, to look at it and say how much you can do and what you can't do. Okay, the next thing is, the against this, number one is the petitioner, of course they should have filed for a variance, because number one is they did not meet the minimum lot size. The minimum lot size for a cemetery is 5 acres, they had 4.5. So before any special session could be granted, the petition should have got the variance approved first. Now, once the petition would have been, if that was approved, then they could have proceeded over to the special session. Well, as you know, that they denied the special session. So based on, if you read that ordinance closely, based on that ordinance, it said, if any one of the two is denied, that kills the whole project. So based on that, we requested that it be denied based on that as well. The last thing is, as the city knows, that area has been declared a super farm site. Back in 1928, and I think that Crystal plant ran from 1928 to 1979, so that plant was in full operation. EPA came out and assessed that site after that site had closed. And we found out there was a bunch of contaminants that blew all down that creek. And when we found out that they were being blown all down the creek, they immediately found that it was going to cost it was more than just an ordinary cleanup. That it would cost millions and millions of dollars. So putting a cemetery in that particular site would impede EPA and their process. Because if they had to go out there, test the soil, and find that the soil is out there contaminated, then you gotta go to the process trying to resume those bodies that's out there to clean up the area. The city, though, I don't believe the city wants to go through that to try to clean up that area. To remove those bodies to clean up the area. So based on those things right there, the people in that surrounding community, especially the ones that are within 150 feet of the property, especially that this be denied based on those things that was mentioned earlier.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor?
He was speaking on the contamination of soil. I mean, we have intention to follow whatever guidelines there are. Now, if there need to be soil samples to find out if the land is contaminated, then we're willing to do that. Now, we never said we go out there and just everybody in any kind of soil. Quite naturally, we will have soil tested and to clear that the soil is good soil.
Yes, sir.
And then he stated that running water on other people's property. We won't be running any type of water on anyone's property. When it rains, there's a ditch and a big ditch on the other side. We can't control water that good Lord bring down, because control it to go on anybody's property. That's not our intent.
That water already flows that direction because the old Madison Furniture Building elevation is way above all that property. All that water comes down here. The same way they're talking about it floods on Census Street. If you at the bottom of the street, that's where all the water gonna come. I don't care how much digging you get out there, whatever you do, you can't change water coming down here. So water coming down here is gonna come down here to our property. The elevation is higher than where the water is coming down here. So the water hits our property, but it takes a curve to go around it. You can see, if the engineer went out there and looked, he could see the low point at the back of the property where the water drains around in the creek I'm talking about, drains into the creek.
I just wanna ask the board, have any of y'all went out there and actually looked at the property for yourself, instead of me saying it's this or the other side saying it's that? Have any of y'all actually went there and looked at the property to see for your own self?
I have. I've been out and I've seen the property.
So, okay.
Yes, and to Mr. Lawrence, stated earlier, that area is a Superfund site. And I know they did a lot of cleaning back here a couple of years ago where they removed a lot of that bad soil and they stored it further up the street because that area, the whole area, like you said, was contaminated by that plant. So I know they did a lot of work. I don't know if they're coming back to do any more work because we have issues with work that they've done in that area where they messed up a lot of people's yard and they're still looking for some kind of resolve on that. We haven't been able to get them back out to address those small issues. So I don't see in the future them coming back to do any more larger projects or work because I've tried to contact them on several occasions because constituents have called me due to the dirt that they moved in the past is now causing issues with their foundation and their yards, and they're having problems from them doing their work. So we haven't been able to contact them and get them back to correct those. And when they left, they said they would come back and correct them, and they hadn't. So that situation is kind of hit and miss because for one, they came in and they did the work and they supposedly cleaned all the contaminated soil out. That was our understanding. But in the process, they disturbed a lot of people's homes, a lot of people's property, and they're pretty much upset that he did it with me. And I had to hear a lot about that over the years, and people have been mad at me about it, thinking that we were the one who, did it, but it was out of our hands because they came in, it was from the state court down to correct those issues. So, and that area is industrial. There's not going to be any homes ever going there.
Exactly.
It's going to only ever be industrial because of that simple fact that the area was contaminated by that plant. So that's why I say I don't know which way you go with it because the area can't go back to residential. So it's going to forever be industrial. It's going to forever be those type of business that comes with them. So it impacts a lot of people. So I don't know how we go from there with it.
Okay, if the board, does not have any other questions on this deal, we can close the public hearing. We can call for a motion for preference of the board.
You can sit down?
Yes, please, thank you.
Mayor, I'd just like to, so everybody's quiet, but I don't think with the number of oppositions that we have against this project, I mean, it's a beautiful project, and I wish it could go forward, but we have people in the area that are against it, at least 40, plus it doesn't meet the 5 acre, and it's a possible flooding, so I think, we're gonna have to just kind of table this issue right now. I don't think anybody's willing to push it forward.
There's a motion by Alderman Daphne, Alderwoman Daphne, Senator Ward, to table this motion. Do we have a second? One.
I'll second.
There's a second by Alderman Fredesco.
I haven't read it.
Ward two, and then readiness by Alderman Aaron Gilby.
Then I have one too.
And then readiness also by Alderman Rodriguez Brown, Ward one.
Now I'll withdraw my second.
Alderman Esco, second.
Well, you know, I mean,
If you withdraw your second, then I can say second twice.
well, let's go ahead and put it. I maintain it. Cause I
Are
do
you
wanna see what,
reinstating your second?
yeah, I maintain my second.
Okay. In that case, as an readiness first for Alderman Gilby.
Well, have we not gone through this? This is about the second time we've actually, second, third time we've actually tabled this
Yeah.
particular project.
Yeah.
So,
We need to come to this.
so I think we need to go ahead and put this to rest, because you have two sides waiting to balance in terms of us making a decision on either to accept or deny. So that's kind of where I'm at, is for us to, and I thought Mr. Esco would actually withdraw a second, so we'll go to the main motion, and that is to either accept or deny the request. So that's just my ratings. We've already been through 2 to 3 delays, so at what point are we going to put to rest?
Are you offering a secondary motion? Except or deny? Primary motion.
Well, if the secondary motion fails, it's gonna go to the primary motion.
Well,
No one voted on anything.
right, so.
Alderman
That's what
Esco.
I'm saying, so again, so it's, you know, it's motion and second.
Right,
To table
he seconded the primary motion to table.
But is that the motion on, okay, that's the main motion, okay.
Yes, sir. Is your,
I have, my substitute motion is to either accept or deny.
there's a substitute motion, which is a secondary motion on the table. Is there a
Second
second?
Alderman Gilkey's motion.
You do second it?
Yes.
It has been seconded. Before we vote on the secondary motion, there's a recognition of Alderman Rodriguez Brown, who had it in readiness.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And to my point, I was just trying to really grasp what is our vision for that area, because like I said, it's nothing particularly coming out there. So are we planning for the future in that area, or are we just gonna let it just keep kicking or can down the road? Cause like I said, we definitely needed to update our land use map and our comprehensive plan, and they could address a lot of these issues that we have today versus us having to come in and always create special exceptions where we create the narrative for the city and the growth of the city, and people know where they can build things and know where they can put things versus a spot picking every time we get to places, and then we don't have any grounds to stand on to go yay or nay, because it's always a toss-up, because we haven't done our part to make sure we make the people aware of what the city identity wants to be and what they want, what we want to see in the city. And I know we need input from them on that also, but I just want to understand, are we looking to, everything that comes to the city is denied because it's nothing, I mean, that we want, or are we trying to grow the city and bring things in, because it is a services that need it, because.
And that's why I take it, because she's 100% right in that we're running out of space. So you're gonna wait till we complete it, you don't have anywhere to bury the body before you say, okay, now we need a cemetery. So it may not meet the qualifications now, but at some point, something's gonna have to be done.
And that's my thinking of it, that we're running short on what this Alderwoman Sim just said, of places to bury people. So this is what the land use map and comprehensive plan does, is creates these things for the futures, because you're planning for them, because you know you're gonna need them. So now you need to know where you're gonna put them, and we haven't done that. So, I mean, we're gonna cut our nose off to spite our face in a sense, and at some point we gotta make a move.
Well, some of the information that was brought forward is that, certain, qualifications were not met. So again, I understand what you're saying, we don't have plans, and we need to plan for it, but as it is now, certain qualifications are not met.
That's what I'm saying. And like I said, the reason I'm speaking for it as it being a need, not a necessity.
Right.
And, you know, we create special sections for necessities all the time.
Right.
For people we don't need to, but when we have a need within the city, it's like, we're not willing to compromise to bring in a service that we all agree that we need. And that's what I'm saying. The area, it's a cemetery right here. It's a cemetery over there. It's cemetery in all type of neighborhoods. That's not a rarity for it to be near a neighborhood. They're near school.
I'd like to withdraw my second motion. Apparently.
Okay, if you withdraw your secondary motion, the mayor.
Totally lost. I understand.
And the people are lost, that's what I'm saying. If we're lost, then how are we gonna guide them?
What I'm saying is, I'm confident in terms of again, we've been down this road, you talk about kicking cans down the road, and this is one of those cans, we're kicking down the road. So that's why I brought forth the secondary motion to go ahead and put it on the table, to go ahead and put a resolution to it, to either accept or deny. So that's kind of where I was. I understand, the debate about it, but again, certain criteria, in my opinion, just not one opinion, is that, Mr. Evans just came before the council to explain, some things to us in terms of, meeting specific or specifications as relates to this particular entity.
Well, we do that all the time.
I know, but I get it. I clearly understand. But, at a bare minimum, those requirements, should have been met, at a bare minimum.
Correct. But like I said, we're talking about a need versus a necessity where we let business come in and just disregarded our own ordinance and gave them pure immunity.
Okay.
To come in and just do how they say fit, but we've already established how we want it. And, to be by semantics at a time when it's a need, come on. Let's be understanding. I know I'm with the people if they're.
Sometimes you talk about businesses, you look at just the needs and necessities, So again, what type of business? Are these businesses revenue driven? Or do they increase our tax base? Or do they, just follow the needs of only the owner? I don't know. I'm just, we're gonna see.
In the community, because like we said, in our own space, we're running out of space.
But I'm just saying, I'm talking about whether or not to, when he's talking about pick and choose what entity to grant special exceptions to.
But like I said, the community will benefit from it versus a business that's going down to just pulling out money, not giving any money, whereas a service is provided to the community that needs it.
But your tax base, again, I withdraw my motion.
Right, no, yeah, if you're withdrawing, obviously, I don't have a choice, but just to let Ms. Steele know, the reason I'm seconding your motion, and I wanna go that way is I don't wanna waste more time with her. I wanna get this raw, but I also agree with the point Ms. Sims made.
Second. The only thing that's left on the table now is to table it. There has been a second. So the mayor has a responsibility of calling the previous question as it relates to that motion. All in favor? Motion carried. All opposed? None opposed. Thank you, Ms. Steele.
She wants you to work and see if you can get with the, individuals to come to a compromise or to see if it's something that you can do to satisfy the board. And because like I said, I don't, like, I already say, what else can you do?
Right.
Let me explain this.
So again, when you have your public hearing, it serves the purpose of that mediation.
Right.
For or against.
Yeah.
So you're asking them to do something that they've already done.
Correct.
In opposition, there's no compromising with people who oppose of something. So again, if you just give them another good faith effort for them to go in and try to compromise, which in fact, you know, fine, but the end result is probably gonna be the same. So
Right, at the end of the day, it's the same, we're just, instead of completely shutting it down, if there's any opportunity at all that you and the neighboring area can work something out, there's that opportunity there, but as far as we go today, there's.
Cause it's definitely a need forward. Can I speak, man?
Just a moment, Mr. Steele. We have been on this topic now for a period of 35 minutes.
We've already voted.
And we've already voted. There's not gonna be any resolution to this issue today. We have heard both sides. This board has made a decision as to what it prefers. And it prefers a conversation between the two opposing groups, and hopefully that can bring about some resolution. But as it stands right now, then the governing authority's decision stands, and that's what they voted on, and I'm impressed that there's nothing that we can do to change that. And so what we're gonna do now is go on, if it's okay, to the next step, which is the next public hearing. The mayor, with the authority invested in him, and the governing authority.
Mrs. Steele, I wanted to speak.
Huh?
Mrs. Steele wanted to speak.
Oh, Mr. Steele?
Yeah, man, I just want say one thing. You know, whatever the vote is, it is. So I don't want no one to think that we might have hard feelings about how they vote. We want to get it resolved too, cause we tired of coming up here.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if you vote against, it's okay. If you vote for it, it's fine. We're gonna continue to beautify the land to whatever we may do over there other than the cemetery. But to keep running back and forth, like Brother Gippy said, the same thing, we're not getting anywhere. And then like Brother Brown said here, we in a need for it. So it's just a flip-flop thing. So we not upset. We're just trying to do something positive toward the city. And if the people don't want it, or if the board don't want it, we understand. So if whatever you all vote today is fine with us. Because, like I said, we've been running back and forth for 2 to 3 months. And it's the same thing. We're arguing about the same thing, taking up city time.
Y'all want to lift from the table then? Vote up down?
The thing is on it, it's already tabled. So it's basically dead until.
Right.
Alright, thank you. Public hearing, another public hearing before us, that was basically appeal, Dr. SSA to the decision of the zoning commission denying his request on Monday, June 21st, 2021, for a special exception for a convenience school. Mr. Jimmy Smith.
This is public hearing or what?
Public hearing.
Dr. Satie, do you want to?
Say,
Who's gonna open up the public hearing?
I just did.
May I take the mask off?
Yes, sir.
Honorable Mayor, and honorable elder ladies, and honorable men, and legal counsel, and Ms. Smith. We are here to request your consideration. By the way, I'm going to give you a couple of documents. The first one shows that going to dwell at 929 East Street. And this is a copy of the project we did in Pearl, finished in February of 2020. If you split the page, you'll see how it's gonna look like. And if you see the neighborhood there, it definitely enhanced the ambience of the appearance of the neighborhood. And I think Mr. Russo have some of the photographs. You need to see them, what kind of convenience stores they have in the area. The second page, I'm gonna pass on to you, give you a little background that what we have done since we came to Canton, Mississippi, in November of '99. And this will show you that we created over a couple hundred jobs. We paid a lot of property taxes, not just a little, a lot of it. We increased utility bills, and we increased sales tax in the city. And we built a lot of nicest places like Canton Inn, Canton Express now, Canton Express we used to have, which is now called Canton Lodge. We have a restaurant. Most of the people take Bumper as a fast food. It's not we have a fast service, yes. And we cook everything fresh. Nothing pre-cooked except that we have frozen patty. And I think Mr. Penn will tell you that you can't do without frozen patty. You just have to have it. If you start making your own, you probably never be able to get served. And especially these days. So whatever you decide, we'd love to see you deciding in a way that it is good for the city. A company is always good for being there. They help to create better prices. They help to give a better service. They keep us on our toes. You probably don't know. I started here when Mr. Scott was the mayor of the city. And ever since, we have enjoyed working here, doing the work here, and I will continue to keep doing what we do. I think I mentioned one of my letters that we start franchising bumpers. We have franchised 4. We had a company out of West Palm Beach, Florida, and we feel, according to their estimation, that we'll have 10 more this year and about 100 next year in the pipeline. And you ask, why would we do this? Because we have a great product. We have a family business. I know the Penn Cafe serve dinner, but we serve catfish dinner, shrimp dinners, chicken dinners, Philly steak dinners. Of course, we sell hamburgers. So we want you to really give a consideration that we're not here to do something wrong, but improve the ambience as well as improve the products and make you happy when you come there. You know, if you have a complaint on one of the bumpers or what we do, let us know so we can make sure that we correct any mistake we make. And any service we didn't provide, I'd love to hear from you guys. So,
Man, I want to ask you, like just said, do you have any problems or any concerns? I recall a few years ago when I frequented his establishment in Bumper, and one of the workers there was pretty rude. I called up safety up and I explained to him what happened, so forth and so on, and he take care of it. So he takes it very serious.
well, being a college professor, I went in the business because we feel we can do a little bit better for ourselves, of course. You guys think you are very poor. We were really poor if you want to know what poverty means. We have the big food in the streets and bad food from the house and well-to-do people. So we are fortunate to be here. We thank you all what you've done for us. You allow us, but please give us the consideration that we will keep making you proud of our efforts.
Thank you.
Any
You have any questions?
questions?
Dr. Secretary?
Have we, the setbacks on this property, was it denied because of the setbacks?
It was denied based upon concerns about the traffic. It was denied based upon concerns that right at that particular location will not be appropriate because of the size. There were some issues they dealt with the bumpers and being able to get in and out of the property as well.
I'm Steve DeRusso, by the way.
I'm sorry, you who, sir?
Steve DeRusso.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm actually will, be owning the property and maintaining it and then we'll be operating. I'm a C-store operator, but my wife and I own 4 other locations that are C-stores. So I just want to introduce myself, let you know who that guy was standing up there. I can give you, sir, if you want to take a look real quick. There's some diagrams, and we can pass them around, but it'll show you the ingress egress on there. The ingress egress on there is actually very good. And to answer the question, that one of the issues was one of the gentlemen that was here said they didn't want to drive past any more C-stores on their way home from work. But Alderman Gilkey and Mr. Escobar here, you hit on some points that what we're trying to do, it's a revenue-based business. We're bringing in a significant amount of money for the city. We're going to create 20 to 25 jobs. I have some additional pictures here. I'd love y'all to look at. These are the C-stores that he was referring to having to drive by on the way home. And you know what the gas stations and others look like around here. We're going to build a pretty, a very pretty product. My wife and I live just down the road in Madison. We're not from out of town. My wife, her daddy actually was a headmaster at Canton Academy. She grew up here. So we've got some ties to the community as well. This is zoning. It should be C2 special, with the special zoning on there. I just think it'll be a great addition to the city. Y'all have mentioned it numerous times here tonight, just in other conversations about making the city prettier and bringing money in and upgrading what it is. I think it's going to be a wonderful upgrade. I don't want to get too wordy or anything, but you can look at like I said, the ingress, egress, it's done that way on purpose. It should flow very, very smoothly. It's been very well thought out. I've got a great builder who's built other locations for me as well. And so hopefully maybe that helped a little bit to address the in and out there.
Hey man, you own the Western City facility?
Sir?
You still own Western City?
Yes, I used to own it. Yeah, the trust law didn't approve the loan, so they closed it down.
Okay.
You know, we would never close it down, but.
So what you're saying is that this economic development project is on a main artery that's in East Peach Street, and the way it's architecturally designed is that one can safely come off of Peace and safely enter Peace as it relates to.
Without a doubt, more so than 3 of the other locations that you would pass. Even if we have delivery trucks in there, you got somebody dropping off, Cokes or chips or whatever, there's ample room for them to pull in, park, unload, traffic in and out of there while all that's going on, and to be able to egress back out in multiple locations, very safe. It's not any more of a liability pulling out on the P Street, and most other locations would be pulling out on the P Street or Main Street.
I have a couple more questions to ask, and I guess this is for you, Mr. Smith. Independent commercial use, what does that mean? Page 98, C2. Independent commercial use. I guess what I'm asking is, does this property come under the umbrella of independent commercial use?
For the purpose.
C2 is basically a shopping center, but it also says independent commercial use. What does that mean?
for purposes of the minimum lot area and the minimum lot width. Shopping centers would have to be at least 3 acres in size. Commercial and other than shopping centers, 10,000.
No, I'm not asking about the shopping centers. I'm asking about independent commercial use. C2 is for independent commercial use.
Yes, sir.
What fits the category of independent commercial use?
Any of the permitted uses that are not shopping centers, that listed under permitted uses in C2.
Okay, so I noticed that C2 also allows for restaurants, and he is talking about a restaurant. I want to ask you the question, under C2, it is also the intent of this district that a commercial uses permitted in C2 district be limited to those in which service performed and merchandise offered for sale be conducted or displayed entirely within enclosed structure. So I said all of that because this independent commercial use project is enclosed, is that right? I mean, that's what it says.
But it does also say that uses of a convenience nature which involve high traffic volumes and higher levels of noise and increased litter.
Where is that?
Be first permitted in C3. That's right after page 99 in my book.
Page 99?
Under purpose of this district C2.
Hold on a second. Is that K? Which one is that?
Mayor, it's right after the section you just read.
Okay. Furthermore, use of a convenience nature. Doesn't say store. It's a convenience nature, which involves high traffic volumes and higher level of noise and increased litter. Be first permitted in a C3. Convenience commercial district. So what we are assuming that Dr. State is going to have a lot of litter and a lot of noise. This is my point. My point is that as you look at land use permitted on page 99, it certainly says restaurants, but most importantly, I refer you to H. And what does H say?
Other similar or related uses specifically approved by the mayor and board of aldermen.
Okay. So, what that means is that the mayor and board of aldermen, or at least the board of aldermen, can give a special exception.
That's right.
Okay. All right. My point is that, and I always say this, and I know the board is tired of me saying this, but in 2019, 2020, our sales taxes was running $240,000 monthly. Now we're at $340,000 monthly as a consequence of ad valorem taxes and sales taxes, or predominantly sales taxes. It is hoped that collectively, with all of these industries that are coming in, by the end of 2022, we can be at $500,000 a month in sales taxes. And so, I just, I've known Dr. Sate for quite some time, and I just asked the board, and that might be a bad thing. Don't ask, okay.
Because again, that was one of the things I said to Mr. Brown as relates to who we grant special exception to. One bringing, a tax base, and the other is self, driven for the most part, where there's nothing additional coming to the city to increase the tax base. So I just thought I'd share that.
Yes, sir. Thank you all so very much.
And if I had to say anything, I only mentioned this because Dr. Sadie mentioned the restaurant comparisons. I actually would be more in favor of just a bumpers going there than a bumpers and a store, but that's just I just wanted to say that because I have nothing against you.
It's like husband and wife.
Yeah. Because I do think anything there is better than just get your bill bid.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
I want to see what, the zoning attorney, Evans, let him speak with. Since he's here, they went through that group.
I'll just state this, all the factors you talked about, the potential tax revenue, those are legitimate factors you can consider in deciding whether or not to grant a special exception. Again, I'll take no positions for or against. The only issue is the way the ordinance is written up. We've had this issue before with the zoning commission, when gas stations are coming into Canton and they're trying to go to C2, the way the ordinance is written is led them to an inference that the preference is to put them in C3. For example, down on like, I think it's West East Peach Street, where all those gas stations are cluttered. That's by design. That's the way C3 was initially designed. So the preference with the zoning commission, when you come into C2, they take a good look at the area, the neighborhood, and if you would have had an easier time if it was C3. Now, if it was just a restaurant, you wouldn't even have to have it here. It could have just been approved, but the gas station, that's why you looked at those particular factors.
Well, let me mention Attorney Evans as to the minutes of the zoning commission, in which they talk about too many gas stations, and which is a bias. There's a Shell service station sitting right in front of, close to the Rebecca subdivision. There's Circle K, and there's one right at the tip end of 43 as it enters into 16. And so, you know, in my field, if you're not bleeding, if you're not short of breath, or you don't have a crushed injury or a broken bone, you're not in emergency unless you swallow some poison. And so I'm saying that there's no injury here for this economic development project that we're facing. And that's just me talking. All right, thanks. What is the pleasure of this board?
Any closing?
Sir?
Hold.
You better close it, the public hearing.
If there are no other questions, the mayor of the city and the board of aldermen, we hereby close this public hearing, and thank you.
Thank you.
Was anybody else here to oppose it?
Me?
I want to get that, please,
Huh?
No.
Because I just wanted to know, was anybody else here to oppose it? And I don't think we opened it up for people that opposed it.
People here that oppose, people here that propose.
Jim said, you know, people prefer, bumpers. I too, I would prefer just the bumpers. I think we're saturated with gas station.
And that's my sentiment also, is that, I mean, how many more gas stations we gonna build? And to build one in that location doesn't, I mean, I don't even see how that makes sense to build it in between State Farm and the car lot. That lot doesn't even seem large enough to accommodate something like this.
Well, I guess the question is, yes, sir.
Make a motion.
You can come back up if you want.
You can come back, you want to say something?
I don't think you were in here when we were.
I wasn't, sorry.
Showing. No, I mean it as a slight, we had shown some plans, and the ingress egress, and we had that conversation as well. I hear what you're saying, if you don't mind.
Part of the residence.
Sir?
We make it part of residence.
Yes.
Make a motion, second, give our residence, and then you proceed with Mr. Brown, our residence.
Have we already closed it out?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, someone.
I like to make a motion.
There's
I need to sit back down.
No, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, but you're gonna be getting back up anyway.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't.
That was the diagram.
Did you want to make it a part of the record?
I wanna make a motion.
Pages there, it shows how that lot fits on there.
Okay. That's it.
We gotta get.
That's it.
I just wanna know how you gonna approve a special session in my ward to something that my constituents.
But again, we closed it, we already, I'm saying, but we actually had the public hearing, we just closed it.
No.
It has to be second anyway, so.
That's what I'm saying, so.
Yeah.
If it's not second, you
We're not
can.
gonna do that. I mean, the people that are in the area are not, they're not too much fans of it, so,
You wanna do it as an readiness?
I mean, I'm the city alderman, and I got an opposition to something, and I don't feel like the situation should be decided by the people who's not from that area, of that area. That's what I'm saying, because none of y'all wouldn't want me to come in and be making decisions on your behalf or your constituents. So I don't deem that to be fit for this moment for you all to make the decision on behalf of my constituents and my ward. So we're not a fan of it, we don't want it, and that's where we at with it. So I don't see the need for it, I don't see the purpose of it. And that's just, I mean, I don't even know why we're entertaining a special reception, we just had the same point previously about understanding where things go and where they need to be in their proper place. That's why you need the land use and comprehensive plan, because I've had several conversations with individuals who live right, there's a few homes right there. They have issues with it. They got the traveling company right next to them that I get calls about all the time, have to go over there and address it. So for you to stick another gas station right up under them, I don't want y'all to make that decision for us.
Well, I made the comment when you were out that I would be happy to see just a restaurant go there instead of a gas station go there. Would y'all, what do you think that the people of that area, the citizens that live around there, would they be all open to just a brick and mortar bumpers going there like that?
Something like this, I mean, we got enough gas stations. People want somewhere to eat, sit down and eat, have somewhere to go with their family.
Right.
I mean, we gassing them up to send them somewhere else to spend the money.
Right, yeah,
We ain't got nothing for them to sit down and do nothing, we ain't got nothing for nothing, but we can gas them up and get you drunk and send you on the road.
Right.
That's all we got.
Pay a fine.
Pay a fine. I mean, we gotta, at some point, we gotta make better decisions on behalf of the people, the quality of life, man. We got 30 gas stations every month coming to Cook County.
Yeah.
Nobody wanna sit down restaurant, nobody wanna bring anything for the family, anything for the kids, anything worth anything, but they can gas us up, get us drunk, and send us up the road.
Look, I agree with you, but again, you said no one wants to bring, anything other than gas station, whatever. What have we done as a body to recruit people to come in and put these things that we request, like
I've been
restaurants?
saying it the same
So
thing for
again,
years, let's get a land use
that's
national comprehensive plan, that's the start.
I got it.
But every week.
I got it, but here it is, I totally agree, don't think I'm against where you're going with it. But again, are we gonna be proactive or reactive?
We say that every week.
I understand
We have
that.
these down
Right,
every
right.
week.
So
we gonna
someone
make
comes-
this business
so
strong or
someone-
that business strong.
So
And
someone
that's why
comes-
you have a land use map and a comprehensive plan to identify all of it. I've been saying that for how many times?
But let me say this as we talk about what's coming as opposed to convenience stores and gas stations and restaurants.
I know, but we here at this moment to address these.
I'm addressing them, Alderman Brown. Now, I can be quiet and I just wait until you finish and then I'll speak.
No, I'm just saying, I didn't understand how other things gonna impact their.
Well, the way it impacts it is there's the notion that the city of Canton has too many convenience stores, and there's the notion that, we might even have too many hamburger places. Waterburg is talking about coming in, and so at some point we're gonna declare that we have too many hamburger places. And so, my position in all of this is that America is free market. And all these service stations, if you sell to these service stations, all of them seem to be making money. If somebody's willing to invest millions of dollars in an economic development project, and we benefit from the taxes that help hire and buy additional police cars and make our citizens safer, and let's do that. But we don't have just convenience stores coming here. We also have a grand Marriott coming here. We also have a mixed district arena that to be reintroduced back to this board to vote up or down, that's especially designed for our children. So it's not just that the city of Canton is attracting convenience stores. We also have a gentleman who wants to put out west, houses and restaurants. And all of this is a consequence of Amazon and all of the things that are coming to the city of Canton. So we do have other economic development projects coming. I see Canton growing west. And of course, you know, there is room for economic development projects internally. But in the final analysis, I said to all of you that Dr. Sete has invested millions of dollars in this community. Hopefully that does not go unnoticed. And I know all of us are the same, but I think that he has extraordinary stature. You know, here in this community, when you look at his list, that's multi-millions of dollars that has gone to give us ad valorem taxes, has gone to give us sales taxes, and all of these businesses help us fund this community. And so, again, I just think that an economic development project like this service station is not any different from Shale, any different from that of Circle K, and I think it is safe and it sits right on an artery. And I don't look at wards, and I know that each of you have a ward.
Exactly.
But I look at what is in the best interest of the city, because I have to look at all of the city. And I sit all of the time and I say, how much additional funds and monies can we get into this community without it being a stress and an agony to the citizens? And all of us have biases and prejudices, but you know, when someone comes to town and they have a modern structure like the one that's being put at Canal and Peace Street, then I think that for economic reasons, if it can fit, and particularly a gentleman of this stature, we need to give some consideration to, and I'm through with it.
I don't have an issue with it. It's just, for me, the location of the project. So I've had pushback from the community on this instance. So I'm speaking for the people I represent. So that's what their sentiments are. So that's the same thing I gotta come here at this table and echo. So that's why I'm voicing my opinion to that fact is that this is the location. It's not the business itself and the people who operate this. I have no issues with them. It's only the location in which they're trying to place the business. It's perfectly, cause a few yards, 100 yards, this gas station used to be there. That would have been a perfect spot to put a gas station. Because there's other commercial business right along next to it, whereas you got, this is gonna back up onto houses, behind it, and beside it. So that's the issue that we're having in the community. That's the issue that we're having. It's gonna encroach on people, you know, who's not a fan of it. And I've already had issues and pushback on other things that's smaller than this, they're coming for the store on top of them. You know, but
Alderman Brown, before I had the first meeting, I went and talked to some folks in that neighborhood, and I know you've got some folks who said that you said that there were quite a few folks that were really excited about having that there, the convenience of it. Asked about jobs, you know, what would take place with that too. So I do want to let you know, I know neither of us went to every single house or talked to every single person, but there were quite a few people who were very excited. Very looking forward to it. Yes, sir, I understand, I completely understand, but I just want to let you know, you have some support there, as far as an alderman and your folks bringing a building like that in and bringing additional revenue and making the place look a lot prettier. And, it's like Alderman Penn said, not just a lot there. But you did have some folks there who, quite a few were really looking forward to it. So I just want to pass it to you.
That was just, like I said, that's the only thing my city was to echo their opinion towards it. And like I said, I've gotten calls about it, and they had issues with putting it on top of them like that. And that's just, like I said, my stance on it. I would hope y'all would support me in that stance, being that we gotta live there and we gotta see it every day.
It'll be pretty, I promise. It'll be quiet, like we said before. Doc's got a lot of pull, as far as the folks that'll be in there and working there and making sure that they're treating your folks right, and everybody's folks right, and, being respectful of, noise and cleanliness, and it'll be a beautiful addition, it really will.
I hear you, but
you mentioned earlier too about bringing revenue in. It's gonna bring some good revenue into your ward, and, it's gonna bring like I said, multi-million-dollar building into there that, will improve your street there. I appreciate your consideration and, spend some time with you and hopefully change your mind on it.
not at this moment.
Right.
I wanna make a motion to table. We can discuss it later and come to a compromise. Cause like I said, I gotta come here and voice the opinion of my constituents.
So we had the first time that we did it, and then they tabled it so we could figure that out, and then we had to wait another 2 months to publish it, to make sure that it was made public for people to come and talk. And now we're into August, and I mean, it's been months and months, and it's costing us a lot of money, by not building. We were prepared to go months ago. It should have been built right now as far as the construction timeline, even with COVID.
Not to cut you off, to that point, you all knew in advance about this. I mean, I understand you can buy land wherever you want to, but I know it's commercial 3. And Mr. Smith, commercial 3 is what type of building?
The
Commercial 2.
It's commercial, it's the property located in C2 general commercial.
And what does that consist of?
It's in between C1 and C3, it's,
What type of
services
services,
that,
what type of business?
more like restaurants and things like that. It's not, gas, by the ordinance, C3 allows for gas stations and convenience stores as special exceptions.
And that's my point. You want me to go against my whole argument for years to say this is something we need to do so we don't have business people coming in.
Right.
And we have these conflicts because they see the opportunity, but the community doesn't see it as such. But that's why we identify these areas and plan for these things, it'd be smooth sailing.
Right.
And I mean, I don't have an issue with any of, properties that he's done, it's just the location is what is issue with sticking point for us, that's the only thing. And like I said, I don't wanna impede on business coming and trying to grow the city, that's not my forte, but I just have to speak for the people when it's an issue. So that's just where I'm at.
We do have the zoning commission that everybody goes to before they get to us, so, we have to, we trust what they, say.
No, you don't have to do that, Lafayette.
We don't do it, but we should.
We should.
You should do it. You have the authority to give special exception.
That's the point we're making, we cherry pick what we wanna put where we wanna put it instead of
If you're not gonna give
what we wanna do in the
you have the
beginning.
authority not to.
Right.
That's my whole point, is having an understanding of what you wanna do before.
The zoning commission just come through here.
But the zoning commission has never been carved in stone. We've always.
Right, yeah, I understand that, that's right.
Their recommendations.
So, are you saying that instead of tabling the action, tabling action will cost you more money? That's what you're saying?
Yes,
In the long run.
I certainly don't want to disapprove.
You would like for it to be either accepted or denied, that's what you're saying?
Well, I guess my question would be, if we tabled it, what would we be tabling it for? In other words, I just come back here and ask, it's important to us, and I understand Alderman Brown's, where he's coming from. But there's an empty lot there between Champion Auto Sales
I got an issue with
and
Champion.
insurance.
Right.
Well, and I understand that, sir, and what we're hoping to do is eventually purchase that property as well. It's not like we're just coming in here doing a one-off and then that's it. We have a commitment that we would like to make to the city, and there's other opportunities, other options to start turning some of these places into better places. I obviously wouldn't wanna go into that public forum like that, but, there's other opportunities to improve your ward in that area, that we can help with and that we can get. I'm not gonna make a commitment and say, this is what's going to happen, because I can't, that's out of my hands today. But, the way Champion looks, the way, I was gonna give you some of these pictures, the way some of these other gas stations looks. I mean, they're.
Well, that's all I'm asking, just give me a little time to go back and talk with the people that I had issue with, to pitch that idea to them, and show them that it can be more beneficial than harm. And like I said, we can table it and bring it back as a special call meeting or whatever, but I just wanna make sure I do my due diligence.
I didn't realize you were committing to me that you were gonna go back and try to change their mind.
Be that you put it as, it can, if you're looking to increase the purchase and continue to grow. I mean, if you're gonna, I understand the sense of that, and that was my whole issue, is that it's increasing on residential people. And that area is commercial / residential, but if that's your issue, like I said, I gotta take them back something that's worth their while, because like I said, they was real adamant about that, because they've been on me about the Champion place, they've been on me about the transportation place. So, they just didn't know what it was, and so just give me a moment to go and speak with them. And like I said, I don't wanna stop progress of any business ever, that's not my forte. Like I said, I just wanna make sure I do right by the people.
Look, I appreciate that. Those are the people that we're gonna be in front of and that we want to take care of and have a relationship with. So I appreciate that.
And that's how, and like I said, just give us a week maybe, and we can come back with a decision on it. Cause I just wanna go speak with them and tell them that it's coming regardless or not, so let's just, accept it and see where we can get in and try to.
Yeah, we can do something like that, and, like you said, a week or whatever, that's fine, but I'll go with budget with you one of these days. It's expensive sitting there holding,
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. Thank you for offering
But
that,
definitely, like I said,
and we're willing to
I know
meet you.
time
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I appreciate it.
And like I said, just give me a week to talk to them, and then I'm pretty sure we'll get it understanding. I just didn't wanna make a decision, being that they chewed me out about it. And just go and just do it, and just like to hit this again.
I know.
I just got chewed out again outside about something, so.
I'll go with you if you want me to.
I'm trying to keep the rest of my head.
With that being said, say you're gonna come back 2 weeks from today.
We can do it in a week if we.
Or a week from today or March, whatever. With this being a vote call meeting, will we have to re-advertise, or can we just come back and, Ms. Banks?
Ms. Banks, I guess.
Oh, Mr. Evans?
We convene public hearing, I don't think we had to re-advertise it.
Could we just recess it?
Yeah, just
Recess it.
Because anyone that should be here for or against, they know today's date, and they're here today, then they're concerned or not concerned and be back. They would be here to hear this is gonna be reconvened.
Yeah. And that's why I said like I said, they may have a change of heart as of now, but recently they expressed to me this like.
I understand. Well, you got more information now, though.
Yeah, so I got more information, I understand what the project entails, so I can go back and tell them that.
We worked on the one, all of them, not just some of them, so thank you.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Right, let's step down and recess the hearing.
Yeah, we can recess the hearing until we can have a special call, we can come back.
Okay, you wanna spread that across the man?
Yes, sir, I'll make the motion, we recess the, meeting.
We need to.
Well, the motion,
Gary withdrew his motion.
I removed my, motion to table, so we'll just recess.
Okay. So give me a second, Fred.
A second.
All in favor? Alright. As relates to the item, appointment of the city new commissioner.
Driving through 20 minutes, then you come back 20 minutes.
All right, thank y'all. Appointment of city commissioners to fill the vacancy left from Bernard Brown's resignation.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to, first of all, I want to introduce you all to Walter Johnson Jr. We'd like to replace or fill the vacancy of Bernard Brown and with Walter Johnson Jr. He's been a lifelong resident of Canton, and most of us know him. He has a resume that's an impeccable resume. You might even check it out. And I think he'll make absolutely a great commission, because he'll come based on his background, and he'll come being able to look into matters and concerns of CMU when it comes to decision making, when it comes to policy. He'll be able to understand and read it. He'll be able to evaluate it because of his accounting background. And I just think he would be absolutely great pick for CMU board. So that's my introduction to Walter Johnson Jr. He might want to add more to it if the board so wishes. Want to come forward? Because most board want to, they want to meet and see, and understand, who you are and where you're coming from. So, just can you make this presentation now?
Yes, sir.
To be truly to all the members and all the ones. I'm honored and privileged to stand for you today and asked to come and present myself to each and every one of you. I do have a resume that I want to present to you. It gives you yes, I have a picture.
Thank you.
To introduce myself to you, I'm no stranger to Canton. Been in Canton all my life. Long lifetime native. The first thing I'd like to say, just to allow me just a few minutes just to say this. The Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish. I have sit here today and witnessed a lot of decisions that had to be made. And I realize that you are not this is not an easy task. But I want you to know, as I said, as a commission on that particular board, I will look at every particular situation and look at it from my heart and from the community's perspective, and come up and share my innermost heart. I attended Holy Child Jesus School. I left there and went to Canton High School. I graduated from Canton High. I did my first year at Atlanta State University. From there to Jackson State University. From there to McKinley Theological Seminary. From there to Blue Foundation Theological Seminary, where I received my doctoral degree. I'm married. I have 4 children. My youngest son actually is at Canton High. He's in the 10th grade, along with his senior son, best of friends. I'm currently I'm the assistant pastor of Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Been there from 2014 up to now. I'm currently a chaplain with Pat's Hospice in Richmond. And currently, I have reestablished and reopened back up KJ's Barbecue. For those of you who enjoy good barbecue, I'm open again. I want you to know that I have served on multiple boards. I've served on the National Convention. I've served on for 20 years. I've served on all the presidents from Dr. David Matthews, Dr. Jerry Young, and in between. I served on the state convention for many years on the board as a recording secretary. I can go on and on, but the most important thing I want to share with you, that if you all select me to serve on this committee, on this board, I will uphold integrity and I will uphold professionalism. I believe within my heart that now is the time. Whether you're on the city council board, or whether you're the mayor, or whether you're on the UMT board, it doesn't matter. The time is now for us to start looking ahead, being very optimistic about the things that are going on. The time for us now to invest our time and energy in selling those things that we need to talk about. And I hear you, Brother Brown, over and over again, saying one particular word over and over again. I'm not saying it just to be saying it right now. I know this is the wrong thing to say it, but I just believe that when there's harmony, when there's unity, and when there's cohesiveness, things have a tendency to go smoothly. And I just want to let you know that I can go on through the resume. I'm not going to deal with your intelligence. You all can take the time to read the whole entire resume from the standpoint where my schooling and I've learned in life. My dad always said, being smart is not so much as having the book sense. Being smart is being able to go get it when you need it. So one thing I do have is common sense. And I believe within my heart, serving on this board, that I can contribute a lot in helping our community and as well as this board to see things from a different perspective. Last but not least, I know that right now we're looking for people that can serve. And I believe that we ought to be looking for willing workers to have a heart and compassion to do those things. Obedient workers, those who really have the insight for those things, as well as those who are willing to rededicate themselves. I had a tough time here in Canton, trying to move across the threshold for some things. I have a heart for this community. Just want to be given an opportunity to show this community that we do have some black men here in Canton, no reflection, that can stand up and walk like you all walk at this day and time together. So again, whatever your decision is, I want to let you know I'm very appreciative and thankful for you all taking me under consideration right now to stand before you. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you for coming before us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alderman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. In our packet, we have a couple other persons' names that were given. Ms. Sabrina Williams sent a resume in our packet, and Reverend Floyd Chambers, his name came up previously. So we have resumes of those two individuals also.
Right. Either one of them here today?
No.
There are 3 candidates that have been presented so far in the city board. Dr. Walter Johnson, Dr. George Chambers, and Ms. Sabrina Williams. What is the pleasure of the board?
All 3 are citizens of Canton. Correct?
Reverend Chambers lives on North Liberty Street. Ms. Sabrina Williams lives at 127 Davis Avenue.
Okay. Is there
replace, COVID,
There's a motion by Alderman Esco to replace, Benoit Brown by Dr. Walter Johnson. Do we have a second? All in favor?
I'm ready.
And then readiness by Alderman Eric Gilpin.
What
else do you need for that?
Mayor, my readiness is, why not, we had the other, two names, submitted, why not vote on all of them? I mean, up or down?
Well, I think we'd have to, the way that the rules work is we'd go and, you could, but if the first one gets the most votes, second.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, the motion
I don't know
would
how
have-
else you could.
The motion would have to change.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
The motion would have to be, Fred or somebody would have to make a motion. I hereby make the motion that we vote on all three candidates. And each candidate gets to vote up or down.
Right.
Or the motion would have to be as what Alderman Esco initially presented, which is his candidate. Now, you can do a secondary motion, which would be
Include all of them.
to include to include all of them.
Yeah, well, I'll do secondary motion, Mayor.
Okay, do we have a second on the secondary motion?
To include all, candidates.
Do we have a second on the secondary motion? Twice. Do we have a second on the secondary motion? Thrice. Second motion.
And just to be upfront with Alderman Wells, I don't understand how, because there's only one opening, I don't understand the voting.
Well, we were trying.
To be fair to the.
Right, I got you.
Yeah, so, we'll go to the primary motion. All in favor of the primary motion? I didn't say aye, I said motion carried.
Did you say aye?
No.
So, you didn't vote, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Vote unanimous?
Yes,
Alderman Wilson.
No.
that was a one name.
Yeah.
As it relates to item 3, override the mayor's veto and appointing election commissioners, Felicia Harding, Lawrence Matlock, and Sheena Johnson for the special election for Ward 2 and Ward 5. We need a motion.
So I can make a motion that we override the mayor's veto and appointment of the election commissioners, Felicia Harding, Lawrence Matlock, and Sheena Johnson for the special election for Ward 2 and 5.
Wait, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And I.
Good guy.
Motion carried. As it relates to item 9, override the mayor's veto on hiring Jackie Andrews as a consultant for government relations with the city of Canton. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we override the mayor's veto on hiring Jackie Andrews as a consultant for government relations with the city of Canton.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And I.
How many ayes? Motion carried. As it relates to override the mayor's veto on the city attorney and special counsel and intervene in pending litigations, protect the city's interests with respect to the county's potential interlocutory appeal and all matters necessary. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And I.
Motion carried. As it relates to authorize and approve employment agreement for Attorney Kimberly Banks, do we have a motion? Has everyone read the contract?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All in, well, who made the motion?
Ken.
Oh, and,
Yes, sir.
all in favor? Motion carried. as it relates to the request for a complete detail of what the Southeastern Compliance Group of their proposal. How does that read? Request for a complete detail of what the Southeastern Compliance Group.
No one's here for them today, are they?
Huh?
No one's here for them today.
No, they
Okay,
sent,
I'm gonna skip 12.
yeah, they sent a copy of that before.
I sent it to all of y'all.
Okay,
It's also in your pack.
then they can read it.
Okay, so we've already got, so we don't need to vote.
Right.
Okay. Review, clean, and Huh? I'm sorry. What is?
He wanted the compliance group.
Oh, they're here?
No, he want, Gilpin wanted to, some discussion on
Oh, he has an unreadiness.
Yeah, he wants.
Okay, so he wants a point of order. Go ahead.
Yeah,
We really do think he wants 7%.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, so,
That's my issue.
so, right.
They want what?
7%.
Of what?
A lot of money.
Oh, so that's 7% of 2.7 million?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is that?
A lot.
That's a little, that's about
6 police
240,000.
cars.
Close to 300,000.
No.
It's like 2, so.
It's a little less than 200,000.
It's
Right.
like 278.
Yeah.
It's about 270,000. Okay,
It's 6 police cars.
let's move on.
Oh, we done?
Yeah.
So we don't need to deal with it, so we don't have to deny, okay. Because we got a platform, okay.
Okay, let's do clean as a whistle.
Mayor, Board of Alderman, I emailed, the clerk, my proposal.
Right.
I don't know what order she got it in, but the first page, and thank you for accepting it, Ms. Brown. The first page is the actual quote. The second page, if you approved it, will be the dates and times that I, to try to operate so that you won't close for business, so you won't have to pay overtime on weekends or coming in late, to have somebody letting in the building.
What was the quote? I don't have it.
You should have it in your packet.
I know I should have it, but I don't have it.
I got a copy for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got, I had extra copy.
It's on one side, it's on one side.
How about I just give all of you what I have, so we all be on the same page?
I got both pages.
Yeah, we got both pages.
Yeah, they have it.
Okay.
I want to know quote and so I'm just.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a misprint on my behalf.
That's a quote.
Yeah, this is a quote. And if it's approved, the second page tells you the time and the date that I come, so that I won't interrupt day-to-day operations. The third page and the fourth page, are my insurance information to show that I am a legal business. I'm not just showing up with a spread.
Is that it?
Do you have any questions for me?
Are there any questions?
Mr. Smith, how often you said this is for one time, right?
One visit,
Oh, okay.
and I recommend a once a month visit.
Okay.
A once a month visit?
Yes, sir. Or as needed when there's potential COVID outbreaks in your building.
We may need more once a month, maybe.
We may need some more money too.
Maybe, if it's twice, maybe Mr. Smith can look at his numbers.
I most certainly look at the numbers. If we're
Okay.
talking about twice a month.
We go once a month right now, and if something happens to.
Okay. If you guys approve it, on the second page where it says the date and the time, I need a designated person that will be, if you look at the package, the places that are open Monday through Friday, I picked those, they may have to close like 30 minutes early, but there'll be somebody with a sign saying I've been there. There'll be a check and balance, so won't nobody say I didn't do the work.
Well, see, that's what I was gonna ask you, like, the fire station never closes, the
I
police
did
station.
that, I put them on a Saturday,
Okay.
and the police station, I put them on a Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will they be able to vacate the premises during that time?
I hope so. You never give me that chemical. It's not cyanide, is it?
I'm not gonna respond to that, man. But I'm willing to work and coordinate with any department head along with the city clerk.
And I would like to hear from the fire department as well as the police department, to see will they be able to set aside that kind of time for those chemicals to be in there and get out.
Well, the dispatcher can't never leave.
That's right.
Okay, and then what budget would be?
Yeah, what budget is coming out of
There's a couple of, and y'all just go, I'll get back to my points here. Go ahead, and we'll get Chiefs up in a little bit, and Clark Brown, and, I mean, we got a few other things to go over with this.
What budget is it coming out of? What about the clerk?
We got a COVID budget.
No, I said, can you still use the COVID? The COVID?
Sure you can.
Well, my thing is, you know, when COVID was so rampant in 2020, our employees sprayed and, you know, they all took care of their buildings. And now we're looking at outsourcing it for a good bit of money. And you can't plan anything with the fire department or the police department, because not a single person in here knows when's a good time for them. Right. Because they don't know what's a good, I mean, you just, their departments are always on call.
You brought up a valid point, Alderman Penn. One of your employees was using a sprayer, and they were not using the proper PPE. That what brought me here originally. When using those sprayers, if you're not using the proper PPE, there'll be a self-inflicted wound. You'll start with lower respiratory issues. And I don't think the city wants to be liable for any issue that could come long term for somebody using a sprayer without a respirator and without all the different PPE.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we don't need it, but you know, just for example, you know, I'm sitting here, I've had both Moderna vaccinations, I've had both shots, I have a mask on. I know I haven't worn a mask lately, but I was the only one in here without a mask, so I figured I might as well wear a mask. But anyway, that's right. But what I'm saying is, we're putting dates on these sprayings 6 days away from today for City Hall.
That can change.
I know, but I mean, it seems to me that if we're worried about spraying, we should be worried about doing it 20 minutes after this meeting, not 6 days from now. So I mean, I just don't, you know, because you're kind of putting dates on killing a virus is like, it's not, or protecting against a virus is, I don't get it.
I apologize for putting a date on there. That was just a way of me planning. I'm willing to coordinate with any department head that I need to coordinate with for the correct dates and time.
Okay,
and I totally agree with the amount of people that's in here and the amount of people that have been through City Hall today. We do need to be strong.
That's fair. For the most part, you can work with whomever on the dates, they're flexible on things.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, you know, we're spending this money, but, you know.
The only place the money can come from is gonna be COVID.
Infrastructure bill.
Infrastructure, yeah.
That's fine, the first.
The only place it can come from.
Right.
Let's go ahead and do
But as far as this, there's no cutoff, are they allowed to just cancel? Just telling you that they're canceling?
Terminate.
Sure.
Terminate.
This is a one-time.
This is a one-time deal.
Oh, it's just
Or I was trying to come in to show what we're doing
Okay.
and to show that so you guys can see it and potentially go forward with it.
Okay.
That was my plan.
Okay.
Yeah. And if the board choose not to go any farther with it, I'm fine with it. If you voted up or down today, I'm fine. But I strongly suggest if the city wants to designate a person named Metro Fogland building, that person needs to be properly trained.
We'll let you take credit then.
Can you train me?
I can train you.
And I am trainable. Yes, indeed.
I mean, yeah, the proper volume, proper license. You know, I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and set.
Do I have a second?
I
All in favor?
But I got on ready.
So then readiness for Alderman Esco.
I just want to know, are we talking about all the buildings because on this list? Because, you know.
If you look at the building, the Public Works have 2 buildings. They technically have 3, but I'm counting them for 2, and they're all gonna be done. if you look at where they're stationed at out by the Sawmill Quarter, that's actually 2 buildings, but I'm only counting for 1. I'm gonna do both. At the cemetery building, that's actually 2, but I'm gonna do both. At the landfill, there's a break room across the street, and there's an office. I'm going to do both. Where you see 4 fire stations, I'm going to do every fire station. Me and Chief will have to work out a better plan for the police department. And City Hall is going to be taken care of.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Alderman Gilkey, did you have a motion on the floor?
Yes, yeah, I moved.
Who did the second?
Sam.
All in favor?
Aye.
I heard 2 ayes.
3.
3 ayes.
It was 4 ayes, actually.
Who did the 4th aye? Okay, motion carries. The mayor will entertain a motion to adopt the passage consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? 1 aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Mayor,
Sir?
prior to us going into the executive session, I have Mr. Nunez, where's his, I think, Nunez, Jose?
Yeah.
Nunez, I think he had a, he actually came before the city hall or the clerks to actually be placed on the agenda. And he has the proper documents to show that he made a request to be on the agenda. And for whatever reason, we missed him on yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And we missed him today. So,
You can hear him now. Then.
yeah.
I make a motion that we add him to the agenda.
Add to the, yeah, let's vote to add to the agenda, then let-
Then we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. It's on the agenda.
Okay. Where is it?
Right here.
All right, afternoon.
Definitely.
She's coming to talk about situation in the city, but she's beginning to talk and tell them what's going on and what we need to do.
Hi, I'm Layla Renee. And the reason why that we have come over here is the situation that we have our Hispanic community, not for just us, but for everybody, but so the first reason is that we have is the community, the first reason that we have the community. The community has to be here with the city council for the community of Lebanon. For us to be safe and all, for us, not just for us, but for people.
Excuse me just a minute. Alderman Pam, will you sit back and lower their voices?
Hey, Chief.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Well, she's
here.
right here, she's formulating it to where she can articulate it to us. So just give her a minute to get a word.
The reason why we have came here is the reason that we have came here for our community and all, that the problem that we have over the trailer parks, we had it since years ago when I was over here. Right now, what happened last month, somebody had, robbed, and right now, last week, it's still doing the same thing. Last week, people talked to us saying that they're still out there And they're still out there robbing and all of that and stuff. Since last month, they have put cameras and all, but like they only have lasted a month. What we need is like more safety for our trailer park, because it's not like we used to be. Right now, that's where I live at right now. I've been there for 2 months by now, and the situation that I first had, well, since what happened to my stepdad's uncle, it terrified me. It terrified me a lot because I'm alone with my daughter, and it terrifies me because I don't want nor me, nor my family, or our community of Hispanics that are over there, to be in problem. What we need right now is more officers to be around, because right now it's not like they had did like a month ago. Where I'm at, it's not light. There's not a lot of light. Some of them are not working, and that's why we can't see anything. Yeah, we only have one light on, and outside in the front and back, but it still won't. People won't notice. People won't see who was it who was trying to get in the car or the house or anything like that. So we're trying to see if you can help us better, trying to do better to help us not have any more of these problems for us, the Hispanic community, and not just us, but for everybody though. So that's why we came here, to talk to you about this, because we don't want this anymore. We're afraid. We're scared. Yes, I'm scared and all, because it's not we used to be. I'm scared and all. And it doesn't matter if it's just we have neighbors and all, but we're all scared. Yeah, some of us, we see something, but we're scared to tell them or call the police, because since last week, one of my aunts had called the police because somebody had called her saying that they were robbing the car, but when she had called the police just said, "What do you want me to do about it?" So what you mean what you want us to do about it? That is not our respect for that. We want more more safety, not just like that.
Like I said something else. What they are looking to get is from the city, the police, the sheriff department, is to work more closely with the crime. They have not been solved anything so far we know about it. There are a lot of cases, and the people that happen to them, they don't know nothing about it. They don't call to court or anything, or they get somebody already in jail, nothing like that. But besides that, the police is not acting right. There are some issues with when they arrest people or they get somebody, they call for help. They go to the place and they only maybe make a report, maybe don't make a report. People start getting tired of that because they don't resolve anything or they don't take the time to do a report. Another thing is because they don't speak English or they don't speak Spanish, the police officers too. But suppose the city has already somebody that understands, they have some interpreter. They have to kind of help them to do that. The other situations going on, lately, again, the crime is up. In only the Charlie Park, it's in other places we have some documents, reports about it, what's going on. But the Charlie Park, one of the issues, because it's happening a lot more there, is the light, public light, is completely off. And they're paying for that. They're paying the bill. They don't have light. You don't see nothing at night time there, it's very dark. That making people get there to rob, assault, or even crime. So far, like a chief said, she mentioned about what the answer of the police. Like last night, there was another shooter here, almost right there by the police station, across the street. What happened there? They go there, but there was one guy get kind of injured, but they only show, they don't do anything much, and quick they go. It's like we don't have, and people, the community, Latino community start getting tired about that, and they already say they are not calling the police no more because it's not resolved anything. They are thinking, I don't know, they're getting more, you know, saying they maybe need to move from here, and you know, it's the city will lose revenue, money, of what they spend here or what they live here. But that's few things is going on. We need to have more safety about that. They put some camera, there was maybe a week, a few days, and they take it back. They put some trailer there for supposed security, they have some camera, but they take it too. The trailer, police trailer I'm talking about, they go there and stay only a few hours, a couple hours, and they take it back. And they come, and not doing really much about that, because criminals, they already know what's going on there. It's not like that. Plus, the back part is open. They are not only Latinos too, black, white people too, that have been targeted. I understand that. I've been talking with some people there. But in the back, it's open complete. Plus, the owner of that place, they don't bother to do anything about it. But that is one of the things is happening, and the community want to see more action, and they want to ask the city council too if they can invite, you know, they kind of invite the community, but in an hour they can come in, or in a day they can come in. We don't have some events like last time they invited the community. I think they only show up like 10 people, yes, because they already have something going on helping 3 days. They was killed the weeks before to help them to be sent back to the country, you know, and they were doing great fundraising, or you know, getting money together. And that day, they already know this weeks before, and they still, the city council don't know about that, but they don't ask either, you know, for that day, for them to come. Sure, they don't come, you know, people tell about it, and most people don't speak English, and suppose the city has somebody already to do that. You know, only that's part of the thing that we want to address, and I hope you can do something about it, a little more effective work. What's going on in the city? Thank you.
Chief, you have a comment?
Sure. Let me ask a few questions before you can speak. I'm talking to you. Oh, okay. As it relates to, I know you brought up some points that I want to address. I know since they've now been annexed for the most part, the city, I'm not for sure if energy owned, is that in the city certificate area? We're talking about lighting, right? They're talking about lighting and all that kind of stuff. We'll see and you can define if that is our area, CU certificate area, or energy. I'll find that out and see if we can actually get.
Who was done it before, Alderman?
Huh?
Who was done it before? They came.
I know that they,
Was energy?
I believe it's energy, when we pull the meters, I believe we have to, I believe so, because we have to pull the meters, and we have to.
Okay, so energy meters, and I know proximity water and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
but I think we can still contact, energy to have them to actually install lights out there like they've done in many other different wards, but I think there's slight cost associated with it, but nevertheless, we've done it over there, this area, I think we've done some, the other places where energy will put street lights out, you know, but of course we absorb, I guess, the cost of those lights, whatever, for the most part. So that's one thing I think we can do. but I'll let you speak on the, security part, you know.
Well, for the security part, when something takes place in the city, whether it's with the Hispanics, African American, Caucasian, whatever, you know, you report things, and then when you report things, it's a process. You gotta go out and find someone. Once you find someone and you put them in jail, then it's another process to come to court and testify on the people. Now, in the past, the Hispanics have not come to court to testify on the people when we catch people. And when we catch people, even their assistant chief, sir?
Speak the.
Oh, you want me to speak to them? I mean,
not
you speaking about the police?
I know, but speaking that.
Okay. When we catch people and we bring them to court, and when we're having a court, if you never show up for court, then the people have to be turned loose. So, that's the case on that. We have people in place, at the dispatch office that when something happened in the Hispanic community, it is not a clear speaking of English, we always contact those people. We have Miss Gloria that was here before out in front of the city hall. We have her number. We have, I can't think of the guy's name, he's a doctor. We got his number, and we got a lady that comes here to court and translate for the Hispanics on when we have court day. We had the young man by the name of Caesar, but when Caesar got in some trouble, you know, he came to court against another Hispanic, but the Hispanic never showed up. So now that's gone. That's over with. So the situation with the command post that we have in the trailer park, when the gas is low, we go over and move it, take it to get gas, and bring it back. The pole that we have with the cameras on it, we had some things take place that we're trying to move it around in different places so we can catch things. I have said to this board over and over again that the city needs cameras all over the city. I don't say it there. You know, it's only so much that the police can do. But if this gentleman is the spokesperson for the Hispanics, like he have came here today and spoke, when things take place, they call him and then they can contact the police department. And we can look further into it. I don't know nothing else the police can do.
Well, I get that. I get that you're doing everything that you can actually do for the most part. But I'm just trying to make sure that, I know we've had many Hispanic, you know.
We have many things to happen. Yes, we have.
You know, meetings and they have representatives. And sometimes, you know, do we communicate? I know you communicate these things to the spokesperson for the Hispanic community, right?
When we know who the spokesperson is for them, that's who we communicate to. We had a situation that take place where some people were arrested for harming Hispanics. No one even came to court. The assistant chief is right back there now. I mean, we had the people, and time after time, no one came to court.
Yeah, I understand that, and again, you know, we've been hard pressed, and I know we do a lot, you know, but I think some of the things that she's asking, you know, that she has asked of us is if we can have some additional control. I mean, not just, you know, it's almost kind of like, you know, people identify what times and places that officers drive.
And criminals do that too.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Criminals do that too.
That's what we're
criminals are just as smart as the police.
That's what I'm referring to.
So if the police pass by the city hall at this hour,
Chief, don't get defensive.
I
understand
I'm
that.
not getting defensive. I'm just explaining.
I know, that's my point. The enemies and whoever know when y'all come around, so forth and so on. They know that, they know you're around probably better than you know around. So again, when people are soft targets, you know, we have to create, you know, have some more inventive ways to kind of combat certain areas for the most part. I don't know if every, I don't have all the answer, but all I'm trying to do is see what we can do to improve what we have going on in place. That we're not doing. I don't know if there are, if there, you know, if there is or isn't. Because again, I see patrol cars, I see them patrolling, you know, in certain places. I've seen them now more in the annex area out there on King Ranch Road, but I'm not for sure exactly how much traffic they're patrolling over here on the, east side of, Trailer Park for the most part, but even that area, I don't know. So again, I know you're not actively thinking about what I'm saying, you're thinking of
I'm
an
hearing
answer.
what you're saying, what you talking about? I'm listening to you, you want me to look at you?
No, I mean, at least I know you're listening to
I'm
me.
listening
Because
to you.
right now, yeah.
I'm
So,
thinking what
because-
you're saying. I'm
yeah, because-
waiting to answer.
Right, so all we're trying to do, because we're being beat up so much, and I know we're doing, a lot. And I know, I don't understand that we're actually doing a lot, but how can we bridge what we're doing more direct to the people who actually comes up here and say to us, we're not doing enough, and we can't say to them, those Hispanic, representatives, because she has legitimate, because when some of them, they don't wanna call. I mean, they don't wanna call the police because they feel they're not gonna do anything. Some don't wanna call because they feel that they're not supposed to be here or whatever. But how can we assure, even in those instances where you're not supposed to be here, because everybody deserves equal protection, regardless if that's not what we're here to do, to say, hey, Miss whoever, we're not here to deport or send anyone back or whatever. That's not what we do. We're here to protect them. So we need you to speak more to the community to say, hey, you got, in order for us to make this a better, more safe for us, y'all have to say, look, y'all have to come forth and say X, Y, Z to these officers when they come in and actually, try to do a report. And you have to show up in court in order to get some of these criminals, off the street. So again, what do we need to do in addition to what we're doing? Because it appears that you're actually doing, what you can do, what you're supposed to do, whatever, but there's a disconnect somewhere. So help us identify those disconnects so we can say to those spokespersons in the Hispanic community that, hey, you gotta meet us too. I mean, y'all, you have to kind of explain to them to say, you gotta show up in court. You gotta feel safe and telling the cops, what's going on and everything. And I hope that they don't have the fears of whoever they're speaking on, repercussions behind, revealing what's going on. So that's all I'm trying to do.
Okay.
We're not trying to point fingers.
No, I'm not saying that. When we had our community meeting with Hispanics out of some other purpose, I stood up and I told them that we're not here at the Canton Police Department to deport anyone. We don't do that. When we had our community meeting out at Porter Middle School, I recited the same thing. It's not even on record that we do that. It's nowhere on record that we do that. I have said over and over again, if we got some problems, which we have problems all over the city, but especially with Hispanics, when something takes place, I have asked them to speak to us, to let us know, to let someone know, Father Mike or someone, that we can get there and get the situation taken care of. I have said that over and over. Now, criminals are out watching police cars. I got an identified truck that I'm out all night riding through. Assistant Chief got a truck that he do the same thing. Investigator Lincoln Powell do it, Eugene do it. So all we need them to do is just let us know when something takes place. Whoever they feel comfortable with telling, tell them so they can tell us. Yeah. So we won't get beat up all the time. I mean, I don't know nothing else to do.
So you just identified, something that I don't know if you actually have done before.
I said that you wanted to meet.
I was at one.
I'm talking about the other one.
I got that.
Yeah,
I got that. But I'm quite sure she wasn't at all the meeting night.
The gentleman that was there.
What I'm saying is, apparently she wasn't.
I know.
All I'm trying to do,
I understand what you're trying to do. I'm just talking in general.
You just said, made a point to say, if they feel comfortable telling someone to have them to tell you whatever. I'm hoping that we reiterate that they need to direct those conversations to somebody.
So it can get to us. And if that young lady's friend or whoever called the police and they said that someone broke in a car and the dispatch asked, what do you want me to do? I need someone to come and let me know that so I can hold our dispatcher accountable for it.
Okay, so
that's what I'm saying. My job is to hold our folks accountable for when they make, whenever they do something wrong. Right. Just like y'all hold me accountable. That's all I'm saying.
So again, let's talk about solutions. I get it. Some people don't understand to say, okay, if I got a Hispanic community, I may know I can go file a complaint.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? They may not know who to talk to file a complaint. You follow?
I'm saying.
So again, to sit here and for us to be,
no, we're not going back.
I'm hoping not. But again, some folks are new. Sometimes you have new people coming to the community each and every day.
That's true.
That probably do not get a chance to talk to them or whomever.
That's true.
So we have to assume that every person that comes to us, it's almost like it's a new problem, even though it may be the same, but it should be considered new. Just like I tell, see you when people call and talk about my power's out or whatever, I say, don't tell them that, hey, someone has already called. Take that as if it's the first call. Because then, if you tell them someone already called me, the next time something happens, they're going to say, well, somebody already called. And when in fact they did not. So when someone comes in, it's just like, hey, it's a new business. Take care of it, whatever, and we move on from there.
I understand that.
If I may,
Alderman Brown.
I just want to know if we have advertised for a Hispanic officer.
Yes, sir.
We have. And it seems like I said, the communication part is the breakdown, is that they don't feel comfortable coming forward. So like I say, in the community, we need to get with them and identify people that we know that they trust and they feel comfortable with sharing with, and get with their community and understand the people that, like you said, if they feel comfortable with Father Michael telling him to contact you, hey, we have this issue, could you address it? But on the other end, we need to get the message over to them that they definitely need to come forward when incidents happen. That's the way to handle the situation, not to expect that we can do something if there's no one there to attest to it or back up the claim or hammer it that way. But I think that's our discommunication, is that they don't feel comfortable coming forward to us. We just need to identify people within the community that we trust and that we can lean on. You say you have Glory or you have other individuals. We just identify.
We have Gloria, we have Mr. Gabriel, we have, I can't think of the lady's name, but we have, she's been on with us about 2-3 months. That comes and do the translation.
And we may need to put the information on our website and class our literature to address that, put something, we may need to put something on our website that in Spanish that speaks to this issue. I mean, that may be where we need to go with this, is to put it on our website and say, these are the contact points for any incident that happened in the community that you all deem to be the people that you feel comfortable with bringing the issues at hand, and we get the message over to them that they need to come forward when it's time to prosecute these people. We need them to come forward and testify. And that's the main reason a lot of these issues are not getting addressed, because they're not willing to come forward and testify.
Well, I can say, when we had the last meeting, before we had the meeting over at Porter, a lot of literature was passed out on how to report a crime. It was in Spanish and in English. A lot of literature was passed out. I'm talking about all over the city. It was passed out. Now I even had some at the session we had there over at Porter. We had some flyers there also, but it was passed out through the week. I mean, all over, not just in the trailer park and all like that. It was passed out all over.
And can we get the information to our media person?
Sure.
To make sure that
So with the website, we did send out an email saying that to all of you, that anything that you need and or want on the website we can do for you, as well as my boss. Clay said that at any point in time, if y'all would like to meet with him or have him up here, you just send him an email and let him know he'll be here. And as far as that goes, as far as having it where we can figure out a way to have on the website where there is a translation for certain stuff, or there is a way where you can communicate if you're having a problem and the only way you know how to do it is typing it a certain way. It can be put in a certain spot on the website, so that way it is dictated that for the Hispanic community, for people, for the deaf, things of that nature. That way it's being able to be communicated all around. Because I have a little brother, he's deaf. It's very hard to communicate with him on a daily when he likes to close his sleepy ear. It's just the whole thing. So to communicate and to have better communication all around, let's build the website better. That means events, calendars, your whatever agenda you have or things of that nature, whatever you want on your website, we can do for you, but we need you to reach out to us and email it to me, because I can't call you 4 times and still not get an answer, or you just find out that you left and I missed you. So anything that you have, anything that you need on the website, send me a quick email. I will definitely run it by everybody. We even got a new person for website design and everything. Just send it to me.
And something you mentioned about an app where they can text to translate, I think that's something we need to look into also putting on the website, because that's another good way of them being able to communicate, because we can't speak Spanish and most of them can't speak English, but if it's some kind, I know there's a lot of apps out there that do that, translate it for you.
Yeah.
So we just maybe need to
make the website more available. Yeah.
More friendly to the Hispanic community.
Exactly.
So
All right.
that may be
We have yet to talk about the owners of the trailer park. And I think that's gonna be a key in bringing it up today. I don't know if that's gonna be coming under the police chief, but we can maybe even deem that area a nuisance and require the owner to hire a security guard. Because that's his place, he's making money, but we're getting in trouble and having all this bad crime happening.
Okay.
Somebody needs to contact the owner, tell him about all these problems that are here, the lighting, the crime, and we need to try, push him to maybe start with a security guard.
Just move abandoned trailer on there. Something
Right, that needs to have attention.
So we also need to sit out building director person over there
Right,
also.
so that's one point.
We have that information because he sent his lawyers down about 3 weeks ago.
Yes. And I'll be very brief. Our department had a meeting, with the owners and with their attorney, John Barker. A few weeks ago, Ms. Max was part of the meeting, Mr. Evans was part of the meeting as well. We're just determining who owns exactly what, because the Langfords own most of the lots that are in that trailer park.
Who owns most of them?
Most of the Langfords.
The Langfords?
Langford.
Who are they?
Not out of town, I think.
Well, somewhere in General area. But about 48 of the lots are owned by individual owners. So we have to address that as well. So we'll have to do that. But Ms. Banks was right to point out, we can't just target code enforcement specifically for the trailer park. We have to vary that out around. Unless the rest of the
So
annexation.
addressing individual owners, that's what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we can start that, because, they need to feel safe and, avoid that part.
Yeah, you have to bring it up to code.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We can go into executive
I'd like to make
session.
a motion that we go into executive session, Mayor.
Have a second. All in favor?
First, I'll go with the police chief. I'm gonna tell him.
All right, thank y'all.
Hey, just bring it back in with.
You see what we have to go through? All these little
Okay.
You see what we have to go through with Cat Eye? You see how you do it? You said it's gonna be a totally different thing. Look, you see how Cat Eye
Just bring it back.
Oh, goodness.
Another one.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring that.
All right, how you doing? I know what kind of bad, everything. Sit over on the desk. Sit over there. We are.
Hey, you.
I'm gonna need one too. I got you.